Good afternoon, my name is Adam Jones and I'm a digital navigator with the Whitman County Library System, and today we're going to be talking about Android phones. So let's get started. Right now we are looking at our home screen, and I'm going to walk through that, but the first things first when you have a new phone is we are going to go through and make a passcode or pass lock for your lock screen. So I'm going to swipe up to pull up our application drawer system. And I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to look for a gear. And the gear is our settings section. And then the nice thing in settings is that there's actually a spot for us to just search. So I'm going to go ahead and just search lock. And from there, it says lock screen password. You can see that right there with the little blue key. I'm going to go ahead and tap that. And then I'm going to tap that top left item that says lock screen password. And I am going to do a numeric. You can do alphanumeric. You can also do kind of a swipe pattern. Numeric is kind of the faster one for me. Usually you can do more secure things with alphanumeric. I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to, for today, it wants 6 digits. Some will want 4, some will want 6. It depends on your version of Android for that. And it's going to ask you to do it a second time. And then it's going to ask you to turn on fingerprint unlock, which I am going to enable at this time. When you do this, it's going to ask you to put your thumb in multiple places and wait for a little bit of tactile response. It will do a little bit of vibration. I am moving my thumb around the sensor so that it's able to see everything that you are, because as you're pulling your phone out, your grip might be a little bit funny. Now this does want to do a face recognition. That is a newer feature. I'm not a huge fan of it, mostly because I have kids and they have a tendency to just throw the phone in your face if they want it unlocked, and I'd rather keep my phone locked down. I'm going to hit the power button, and that's going to lock the phone. To unlock the phone, I'm going to hit the power button, and it's going to prompt me either for my thumbprint. If I swipe up, it's going to provide the passcode lock screen for me. Now, one thing to note, on your lock screen, you can have your notifications. As you can see, I've missed a phone call and I have a couple emails. This is a way for you to have that quick glance to look at, where am I? How's my day? Do I really need to unlock my phone? In most cases, probably not if you're having a delightful conversation. As soon as you have unlocked your phone, it's going to bring you to your home screen. And you can set up multiple home screens. I have just 2 set up for myself. The other thing I've done, and this is more particular to me, but I do recommend it, is all of my apps and all of my action steps are actually in the bottom right corner of my screen, because my thumb can't reach the entire screen, so I'm not going to actually put applications or things that I want to tap in the top right area. Now in this version of Android, I can swipe up, and that brings me to all of my applications. And you can scroll through it. Samsung and the Pixel will have just a little bit of a different graphical interface, and that's okay. These steps are going to be the same across all devices. The other thing that you can do is pull in the drawer from the top, and I'm just going to slide that real slow. And once again, we're able to see these notifications that we saw on the lock screen, and we can scroll through them to see really, okay, are these important? No. Target? No, it's not. I'm just going to swipe Target away. Okay, well, there was a sound in my garage. I know that that was me, so I'm going to swipe that one away. And then I'm going to just scroll further down. Now, if I did want to access other options, I'm going to swipe down on this little bar here and just pull that down. From here, I'm able to see, hey, I have my power saving mode on. I do have my Bluetooth on. I have my mobile data on, and I am tied to Wi-Fi. So for the purpose of today, I'm going to press and hold the Wi-Fi, and it's going to pull up an interface that allows me to see what are the other available networks to me. I am going to click PM Secured 2, and it's going to ask for a password. Hopefully you do have a password on your Wi-Fi at home. And I'm going to just go ahead and type in that password. These other settings for the proxy, the IP, privacy, metered, in most cases you will not have to worry about that, so don't worry too much today. Really, I just want to show you how to access the Wi-Fi, type in a password, and then go ahead and hit that check mark. and you will connect to your Wi-Fi. A handy feature is the power saving mode that's over here on the left on mine. It might be in a slightly different area on yours. The other thing to note is your screen brightness. You can kind of adjust and just scroll this across. If you hit the little A with the sun, that will put it into auto brightness mode. And then if you do happen to fly, I do recommend using that airplane mode button, which will turn off most everything except Bluetooth, because you can use your Bluetooth devices on those airplanes. All right, I'm going to turn airplane mode off, and as you can see, my mobile data and my Wi-Fi are turned back on. At the bottom of the screen, as you can see, I have a triangle, square, and a hamburger, which is the 3 dashed lines. And so the arrow is go back, the square is go home, and then the 3 dashes, or the hamburger menu, will kind of pull up all the apps that you have open at this current time. I'm going to just hit that to go back home, and then we can start from there. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is make widgets. If I press and hold my home screen, it'll pull up this menu that allows me to change the wallpapers, go to settings, but then if I scroll, I can look through all the apps that provide me widget options. So for today, I'm going to access the digital well-being, and I'm going to press and hold, and then move it right up there. Now the size is a little bit wonky, and I don't really want to access it right now, so I am going to hit that back button like we talked about, and I'm going to press and hold it, and then there's that option for resize, padding, or remove. I'm going to resize it, and then I can drag it all the way across. So I can see how much screen time I've actually had, which apps are taking up my time, and which apps, maybe I need to cut back on. The moment I tap away, that resizing goes away, and now anytime I'm on my home screen, I can see where my screen time has been. If I do get tired of that widget, I can press and hold to pull up that contextual menu, and then I can go ahead and hit that remove. Oh, but my clock got messed up. So now I'm going to press and hold that, and I'm going to drag it right back to where I want it. So the primary apps within Android that you're going to probably be using the most, we're going to walk through those together. The primary one is going to be Google Chrome. Chrome is right here at the top. I'm going to tap it. And this is your web browser, just like you may have on your desktop or your laptop. In the top right corner, you do have a dotted menu. So you can open new tabs, check your history, maybe your downloads. You can see what tabs you may have open. And then you can delete some, you can access a new one. And then you can go ahead and just search. Android 14. If you want to make a new tab, you can just hit that little plus to pull you back here. And once again, if you want to get back to home, you can always go ahead and hit that little square at the bottom. The next one that a lot of people use is the default messages app, which I do have a shortcut here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and tap that. And as you can see, they have changed this application a little bit for 13. They don't have every feature in 11 and 12. But in the top area, you can do a search, but then you can go through personal and then business, which will include a lot of two-factor authentication or shipping notifications, those sorts of things. I do leave mine on all, and I'm able to scroll through and see stuff, see my messages, see my text messages from different people. It has been the holiday season, so lots of greetings. My dad did message me. Now, one key thing that a lot of people don't know that you can do is you can actually do a pinch zoom inside of messages to increase the font and the text. Sometimes, even if you set your accessibility settings, which we're going to go through a little bit later, sometimes those things can be a little bit hard to see, or maybe the lighting's just not right. You can always go through and pinch zoom as you need. To start a new message, in the bottom right corner, they do have that little text box. I'm going to click it, and then it's going to say, oh, who do you want to message? I have actually myself in here, so I'm going to tap, and then I'm going to send myself a reminder to do the thing. And I'm going to hit send, and then I get that notification coming right through. Now, the fun thing is, There are some quick replies. There are some different emojis you can do. Right above this text message box, it also kind of gives you auto-suggested phrases or emojis. You know, sometimes if you're in a hurry or you don't quite have the words to say, this feature can be really helpful to help drive that conversation with individuals. That's messages. I am going to, once again, hit that box at the bottom to pull myself to home. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up the camera. Now, the camera app has not changed a whole lot over the last 4 years. At the middle part, you can see that I have a 1x, which is a 1x zoom. And then if I wanted a little bit further back, I'm going to hit the icon with 3 trees, and that's going to make it go a little bit wider. But then if I really wanted to zoom in, I'm going to hit that one on the far right, and that's going to do a 2x zoom. Now, you are able to fine tune it just by tapping it, and then you can kind of scroll through what you would like it to be. I usually just leave it at 1x, or usually the 0.6 just as needed. That's kind of what I use on a day-to-day. If you do want to take a video, you can just tap that on the left. And once again, we still have those kind of zoom features. Now, you are going to run into some kind of particular imagery issues with frames per second. We're not going to get into that today, but I typically do recommend leaving things at the default level just because it's usually more than most people need on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you did want to take a selfie picture, you are on this left side with the dot with the 2 arrows going circling each other. Go ahead and tap that. Then I can see myself. And I'm just going to tap that button to take a picture of myself. That one could be a little bit better, but that's all it takes is just hitting that button in the middle to take that picture. And then if we did want to do a video, I can go ahead and hit record. And then the nice thing is when you're doing the front-facing camera, there's not as many settings. There's not an additional zoom. There's not an additional setting of too many filters, just because your back camera is typically going to have a higher quality lens than your front camera. Now at this point, we have opened a lot of apps. And so instead of just hitting the home dashboard button, I'm actually going to hit that hamburger menu in the bottom right corner, and I can hit that close all button. And that's going to close all the apps except for the one that you have most recently open, which I do want to close it, so I'm going to swipe up to close it. And that way you're not running your battery down as much. Every single application that you open stays open and takes up system resources. So I do recommend hitting that hamburger menu and closing all fairly frequently. You open more things than you can imagine. Now, if you're like me, and I do travel mostly for business, and I'm in cities that I have never been in, I do recommend using the Google Maps application. Google Maps is pretty powerful, and it is in some ways a marketing tool because you can see other businesses, nonprofits, city buildings, gardens, or recreational areas. They have a lot of stuff in here, and there's a lot to access. For today, I just want to help you focus in on 2 items. One, at the very top, it says search here. And I'm going to type in surfs in Colfax. And I'm pretty familiar with the Colfax downtown, but it is a long stretch, and sometimes I forget which block things are on. So after I've searched for surfs, it'll give me, okay, this is your closest match. I can go ahead and hit directions. It's going to show me a few different items. One, it's going to show me the quickest route, but then it's also going to show me an alternate route. Maybe I do want to drive through Albion. The other thing to note at the very bottom is steps. This will show you every single step on your path. Sometimes it's hard to tell, like, okay, is it really this right? Is it really this left? Sometimes it's nice to just know, okay, I am going to turn left on Poplar, turn right on State, and right on Davis, and then you don't have to think about it until that following exit. It makes it really easy to just get a quick at-a-glance view. To start navigation, I'm just going to go ahead and hit start.
Head southeast on Poplar toward Northwest State Street, then turn right onto Northwest State Street.
And of course, you have that voice that tells you exactly where to turn and what to do. Now, I do tend to have this on, and when I have it on, I do drive a little bit slower so that I have enough time to react. Sometimes there's long exit names, And they're like, okay, get off on da 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 da. I'm like, wow, I missed it. I already missed it. If you're looking at getting a new Garmin or some other device, I would say try Google Maps. Get a little bit familiar and try it. But I'm not driving, as you can see. So I'm going to hit that hamburger menu, and I'm going to swipe up to close out the application. Now, as you may have noticed, I actually have a fair amount of apps. So as I scroll down, I'm going to go ahead and find a new app. Maybe I need a new game. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Play Store. That is the only app store available. And we can scroll through and see, okay, what would be interesting? What would be worth either a game or trying out? I'm going to hit apps. So for today, maybe I need a to-do list. I can go ahead and I can click Google Tasks. And I can scroll. I can see the About This app. Okay, it says quickly capture tasks anywhere. Create task lists with the most important to-dos, view and edit and manage things on the go. And it integrates with my Gmail and my calendar. Okay, let's give that one a go. I'm going to go ahead and just hit that install button. And it is pretty easy to uninstall apps. They'll give us an option as soon as it's installed. And as you can see in the top left, it says uninstall, and then top right it says open. I'm going to go ahead and click that open so we can take a look at our new app that we have downloaded together. All right, keep track of important things. Swipe, add date or time so that you get notified. Ooh, I can get notifications. It is going to ask permissions to send notifications, and I will allow for that function. And in this interface, I can have a default list or multiple lists. And then if I need to create a task, I can hit this plus in the bottom. Now, when we talk about the keyboard in Android, there is a key feature that we can do. Because we can't say, call dad back. I'll do it again in case you missed it. I can sit here and just tap all the letters. Or I can swipe. I can start from the B, swipe to the A, go to the C, and go to the K, and it will input that word in there. It does take a little bit of practice, but I have found that feature saves quite a bit of time. The other thing you can do, if I hit the plus again, in the top right part of your keyboard, there is a little voice icon. I also use this feature quite a bit. That is a voice to text, and then I can just speak, and it's very handy. So I have set my tasks. I'm going to hit my hamburger menu to go back to the Play Store. And I can hit that uninstall button, but I'm going to show you the other place where you can uninstall your applications if, for whatever reason, you didn't like the application, it's not working, or maybe you're just not using it. As I scroll, I can find and identify the Google Tasks right down here. I'm going to press and hold tasks, and then you can do either trash, check for widgets, get information, or edit it. I am going to hit the I for information, and from here you can see how much data has it been using, how big is it, what permissions does it have, is it using the battery? But the big thing is I'm going to uninstall it from that top right menu item. And poof, it's gone. Now the next thing that I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this down for just a moment, is connecting a Bluetooth headset. I know it's been really popular for kind of those AirPods or earbud ones. I really like something that goes over the top of my ears. And every one of these is going to pair just a little bit differently. On this set, I have buttons on this side. And so this is the volume higher, the turn on button, the turn volume up, and then the pairing. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and set these up. And then that little clean nub, I'm going to press and hold it until it turns on. And I hear it say power on. Most of your devices will do that. And then I'm going to press and hold the Bluetooth sync button. It just told me it's pairing. So now I'm going to pull out my phone, scroll down from that top drawer like we talked about before. I'm going to pull it down one more. And then I'm going to press and hold, and then I'm going to see what available devices are in my general area, which is not quite seeing it yet, which isn't too uncommon. I'm going to hit the more button, And this will bring me into that interface. I'm going to turn it off and back on again because I know that these are searching for a pair. So these headphones are called Evo. So I'm going to tap it, and it's going to say that it's pairing. You may hear some feedback in there too. Now this is wanting to have access to my contacts and my call logs. I'm actually going to leave it off because I really just want to listen to music. So I'm going to hit pair, and on the inside it did say that pairing was successful. Most of your headphones will also say the same thing. Now at the top you can see that it is paired with that device, and it's showing you how much battery life I have on that device as well. If I click that little information socket, I can see, okay, if I want to disconnect it or fully unpair it, or like that contact sharing again, I can turn that off and on. I'm going to hit the square to go back home. And from here, if I want to listen to any music within Spotify or YouTube, I can just access it and that music is going to go straight to the headset. At this time, I am going to turn these off. So that little nub that was on there, I'm going to press and hold. It told me the power was off. And now, from the Bluetooth menu, you can see that it is paired, but it is not an active connection. And that's okay. It will keep a list of all synced items. So the next thing I want to go over is accessibility options. There's a lot of really neat features, and I do want to go through those together. So I'm going to go into all applications. I'm going to scroll up until I find that gear that we talked about before. And I'm going to tap settings, and then I'm going to use the search function. Now, one of the easy ways to adjust your display is actually just search for display, and then display additional settings and accessibility. So for vision, you can have it talk back, you can have magnification, color correction, high contrast colors, and even removing animations. And then I'm going to also go to hearing to show you some of that, because there is some live caption of media, and then there are caption preferences, and then you can connect these to hearing aids. I apologize, I don't have any of those to demo with you today, but it is very similar to the Evo headphones that I showed earlier. If I go over to interaction, if you need to have short touches or long touches, depending on kind of your tactile responses or how your hands are set up, you're able to kind of ignore repeated taps. Maybe you have a little bit of jitters. Sometimes I do with too much coffee. This is a way to ignore those repeated tapping motions that sometimes are an accident, sometimes it's purposeful, but it's able to kind of help you interact with your phone in a much more convenient way. So in here, if I turn on high contrast text, as you can see, it turned off the blue for all those little sub options, making sure that it's just really black and white and it's very visible to see. So the other easy way to increase text size across the board is if I go to settings at the top, and I'm going to swipe display, because we talked about that together, and I come down to display size. I'm going to go ahead and tap that, and I can go to from small, standard, or large. And as you can see, the fonts have radically increased, and so have the icons and everything else on the phone, which can be really, really helpful as you're working through and navigating through the web and what you're looking for. And once again, I'm going to show you that going back the other way. I'm just going to type in display, and then I'm going to go down to where it says display size. I'm going to tap that option. I keep mine on small, and then I can hit back, and we are good to go. The last thing I want to show you is emergency functions. These are newer in Android 10, and they have changed. Android 10, 11, 12, and 13 all have different emergency settings. So I will be showing the 13, but the settings and the searches are the same. So on my phone, if I go ahead and I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to repeatedly tap the power button, this is going to pull up an emergency SOS screen. And from here you can call either 911 or your emergency contact. Additionally, if you're a medical provider, In the bottom left corner, you can see medical information. This is helpful if you've had a past with seizures or maybe something with your heart or diabetes. A medical professional can hit the power button 5 times and go in and double check to see in an emergency what your past medical history might be for that care on the spot. You can also have a flashlight and a buzzer to make lots of noise to try and get some help going. Now, you have to fill in that data ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where to find that in the settings. So I swipe up for the app drawer, I look for the gear, I tap on settings, and then it'll either be on your phone under SOS or emergency. Those are the 2 search terms that you're going to want to use. So if I tap in emergency SOS, I can then enter in my emergency contacts, my medical information, and emergency sharing. What that means is if you are in a place where you need help, you can activate this and say, please send a text message with my location to my emergency contacts and also call that person. Or, and in some cases, your phone will go ahead and take a photo and send it to your emergency contact, or sometimes do a 5 to 10 second audio recording to send to that person. These are really, really key features to making sure that you are safe in your environment. That's all I had for today. Thank you so much for joining us for this walkthrough of the Android phone system. If you do have more questions, feel free to reach out to your local library or call the hotline that's in the description below. You'll either talk to me or one of the other digital navigators that are here to help you from the Whitman County Library System.